Well, let's get our viewers a deep dive into the top headline story today. The national capital is witnessing a massive political showdown between the Aam Aadmi Party government and the centre over the Central Bureau of Investigation raids on Deputy CM Manish Sisodia over the excise policy. So let's first start with today's events and tell you what happened today. So beginning with the events that happened in the morning today, 9 a.m., CBI raids Delhi Deputy CM's residence. In fact, CBI raids have happened at 31 different locations, and the probe linked to the Delhi excise policy. There have been protests outside Sisodia's residence. AAP MLAs and supporters detained by the Delhi police have also imposed Section 144. FIR also, in fact, names Manish Sisodia and 15 others. Now, come to the question on was anything found in the searches. Well, the last we checked, this is what was recovered. Official files relating to excise policy were seized. Incriminating documents and digital records were found. No cash recovery in any of the locations. So that's as per our ground reports, and our correspondents who are tracking this story. Now let's talk about why the Delhi excise policy has become a major bone of contention between the AAP and the BJP. The excise department is currently headed by Manish Sisodia. He is under the scanner for alleged deliberate and gross procedural lapses which provided undue benefits to the tender process for liquor licensees for the year 2021-22. So that's the allegation. So here's a quick explainer on what is Delhi's excise policy and why did it turn controversial. So let's look at the graphics that we have made for on this particular topic on why is it controversial. Well, Delhi government withdrew all stakes from retail liquor business. So it was initially a public-private partnership model which the Delhi government decided to change and privatize. Private players were given licenses to open liquor stores. So that became controversial eventually since the allegation of kickbacks came in. Let's look at the next point on why is it controversial. Now, this entire issue, of course, has drawn a lot of flack for the Aam Aadmi Party government. 849 liquor stores were to open across 32 zones. Now, remember, this policy was reversed eventually. AAP alleges that the ex-LG Anil Baijal changed his stance just 2 days before implementation. So this is in response to the allegation that the governor was never taken into confidence. Now AAP says that the governor was very much in the know of things, but he changed his position, and that too 2 days before the policy was to be implemented. So these are important pointers that we have on why this particular policy became controversial. CBI's search is the culmination of the inquiry order given by the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi, Vinay Kumar Saxena, after he was appointed. He was the successor to Anil Kumar Baijal. So what were the changes made to the existing policy? Let's understand that as well. On the changes, I beg your pardon, on the changes made to the liquor policy, which has drawn this entire controversy. Retail agent licenses were given to private bidders, so that is one of the important changes that were made by the Arvind Kejriwal government. Now, licensees also were allowed to determine the prices. The licensees can offer unlimited discounts. Liquor shops can stay open till 3 a.m. All of these changes were made to the existing policies. Delivery of liquor was home delivery of liquor, that is, was also allowed. So those are the issues that you are looking at on your screens right now, which has drawn criticism, and not just that, has drawn an inquiry now leading up to the CBI raids. The crux of the matter is, viewers, that Delhi's liquor policy, like I mentioned, had a public-private partnership model, but Kejriwal government decided to privatize it completely. Delhi was divided into 32 zones, and each zone was auctioned to the highest bidder, which obviously allowed for allegations of cartelization. It was alleged that 6 highest bidders controlled the entire liquor market in the national capital. So, deliberate, gross procedural lapses, that is one of the charges. Let's put that out on graphics as well. The specific charges that we are talking about. Gross procedural lapses, that's number one. And moving on to the other charges that also are leveled against Aam Aadmi Party government, provided undue benefits to licensees. Let's also talk about the other charges. Quid pro quo at top levels. That is again an allegation. Decisions taken in violation of the statutory provisions. That is yet another allegation. Extended undue financial favors to licensees, decisions taken violating statutory provisions, also huge losses to the state exchequer. That's again another allegation leveled. Undue waiver of 144.36 crores were allowed, and decisions taken without the governor's confidence. So these are the issues that has now cropped up. These are the charges that have been leveled against the AAP government. It was also alleged by the BJP and other opposition parties in Delhi that these companies paid kickbacks for the licenses. The policy was challenged in courts as well. The Kejriwal government tried to project that the new liquor policy was an innovative idea to enhance Delhi government's revenue. Many experts contested that projection. The chief secretary of the Delhi government, who also reports the chief secretary who also reports to the LG on the subjects of public order, land and police, submitted an adverse report against his own government with regards to irregularities that were flagged off about the distribution of liquor shops. The LG not only invited the CBI to investigate the matter, but also asked for an enquiry in the role of the excise minister. And who should that be? Yes, Manish Sisodia. Interestingly, when Health Minister Satyendra Jain was arrested, Arvind Kejriwal actually forecast that the Modi government would soon arrest Manish Sisodia. That arrest has not happened as of now, but could it be imminent? Those are the questions that we have to ask, and also the claims and the counter-claims. I have with me, joining me here on the program, Anuja Kapur of the BJP, spokesperson of the BJP, Binay Singh, political analyst, Priyanka Kakkar, spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party, Saket Gokhale, TMC spokesperson, also with us. So let me begin with the big questions. First, the question to the AAP spokesperson. Why did the Aam Aadmi Party suddenly revoke the new policy when earlier claims made by Arvind Kejriwal and Sisodia himself said that this policy would increase revenue and bust the liquor mafia? Very good evening to all of you. Let's put that question to the AAP spokesperson. You're on mute, sir. Could you please unmute yourself? Priyanka Kakkar, could you please unmute yourself?
I have. I think I'll be audible now.
Yes, you are.
Good evening to everyone. So, when this excise policy came out, compared to the previous policy, which made a revenue of, say, 6,000 crores, we made a revenue of 9,000 crores. So it did achieve its objective. Currently, the policy is under suspension. And why that is because you see today, even today, there are 15 officials' name in the FIR. This is when data politics. So what happens is these shops needs to be auctioned. So no officer now wants to get involved in the auctioning process because he fears he'll be named in the fake FIRs, false cases, false charges, CBI, ED raids, which is the way of the world these days. ED Mahotsav jo man raha hai. Then again, what has happened is,
not answering my specific question, Ms. Kakkar, that there was a reversal of a decision taken by the Aam Aadmi Party without sufficient explanation why that had to happen. I wanted to answer on that first.
That's what I'm saying. Yes. That's what I'm saying, Ms. Ali. So no officer wants to involve himself in the auctioning process, fearing these agencies which are misused relatively pretty easily these days. And so is the vendor. Even the vendors do not want to come forward in auction anymore. In fact, of the sanctioned 850 strength, there are about 250, 300 liquor shops now in Delhi. Many have shut shops because of the fear of constant vendetta politics. So, and therefore, the policy currently is in suspension.
Was the LG taken into confidence in
Of
this?
course. Of course, the LG was taken
But
into
you never
confidence.
envisaged it during the policy making process that there could be harassment by the agencies on the vendors. How did you wake up to this realization or wake up to this possibility later?
No. So what happened is when 850 sanction limit is 850, then once 850 were auctioned, then 200 shut shops, it came down to 650. It was a gradual process. We saw that the shops are declining, and therefore we had to revoke it. But let Miss Ali, before we go further, I must also bring forth the fact that why this happened today. And it's simply because, very recently the Honorable PM visited US, and none of the papers covered his conference or his schedule while he was in US. Whereas our education model, which we are famous for, the health model that we are famous for, you see how they are coming after Satyendra Jain ji is still suffering. And the health model, the education model that we're famous for, it was praised all over the world today. It should have been a moment of pride for all Indians that finally we are in the news for something good after a long time in a very renowned newspaper. But it is what the sorry state of affairs as it stands today, that owing to vendetta politics, they have to constantly stop us from doing our work, and that is what is happening. Even the FIR today, when I read it, there is no allegation against Manish ji. We'll have to wait for the charge sheet now. Yes, that's it for now. I'll come back later.
Yes, but then some critical questions remain. I'll come back to you. I'll just bring in the other panelists as well. Anuja Kapur, so far nothing has been recovered by the agencies. Don't you think if you do not have substantial evidence against Manish Sisodia that he took kickbacks or there was a quid pro quo, I think to my mind the bottom line would be to substantiate, to prove that there was certain kickbacks given to the minister or to the AAP government and the other leaders of the AAP. Unless that part is proved, again you will fall into the same argument where the opposition will once again accuse you of using the ED and CBI as tools to harass and threaten the opposition.
I think, aren't we too jumping on the guns? Let's wait. CBI just started. Let's hang on. Let's look into the charge sheet. Let the trial start. Being a lawyer, let me put it through like this. Let's not jump the guns on us. We're not doing anything. Neither of us is involved in this. This is CBI. Please ask questions to CBI. We're not doing anything. CBI has the things which needs to be proven in the court of law that they will do. CBI has been working like this at the case of Amit Shah ji during Congress time also. I have heard many questions on this. People are talking about who is the minister in Modi's government. You have forgotten. There was a direct questioning with Gujarat related violence with Modi ji. And who else would you want? And Amit Shah ji at the time of Congress era. So saying this, that CBI has done something on the behest of BJP, this is a very wrong allegation. Whatever is going to come up, please wait and please
you want to stop them in their ranks because the AAP is doing excellent work in health and education, and you want that image to be dented. That is what the AAP is alleging. That's why they are saying this is vendetta.
Let me put it to you through. Jagran Samvathata newspaper, I think. 10th class and 12th class, CBSE. I think my friend is sitting there. She will definitely congratulate her. 10th class, no more is on the top rank. It has come down to 14th rank. This is the Manish Sisodia. This is where the AAP minister is standing. Not only he's been accused of liquor, this is what he is sending the message for this, the other people in education. Now you see East Delhi region, it has come to 4th rank. If you see in Northwest Delhi, Pashchimi, when we talk about, it has come to 5th rank. And this is related to the 12th. So imagine we only have in G main also only 2 grab 99.9%. What are you talking? What is the education model are you talking? I have this report. I have it in front of me, and I've told you the paper or the newspaper which has already given the CBSE report. So where is your 10th class?
ये
Where is
स्कैम
your
है,
10th
किकबैक.
class?
ये किकबैक है लिकर पॉलिसी का. ये अलेज किया आपने.
Madam, you don't even know what you're talking about, because that is what सुबह से आप राग गा रही हैं हर जगह पर जाकर आपके आम आदमी के लोग, कि हम जब भी बात करते हैं लिकर पॉलिसी पे तो आप अपना न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स का शुरू कर देती हैं, तो एजुकेशन शुरू कर रही है. तो दिस इज वेयर आई एम काउंटरिंग यू, because now
बताइए
I'm
क्या
going to
corruption
counter
है?
you with the proper thing.
बताइए क्या
Anuja
corruption
Kapur,
is going to
you
be proved in
you
the court of
said you
law.
said that the CBI has to complete the process. So again, taking your words, let's not jump the gun. So we, as of now, the charges against Manish Sisodia have not been proven. The fact of the matter is the AAP believes that because of its spectacular win in Punjab and now the Gujarat elections coming up, the AAP believes the BJP is threatened, and because of which these actions are being taken on the top ministers.
Do you think, Afrida ji, do you think Aam Aadmi Party can threaten Modi ji's government? A regional party will threaten, and why will we be threatened? Why would we be? We are doing our job. We are with people's favorite. Why would we be threatened?
Okay. Now let's stick to the liquor policy and the facts of the case. The fact of the matter is the AAP has actually reversed the policy, Anuja Kapur. So now what is the problem? Now you are actually going back to the period in which that new policy was in force and talking about how the netas could have benefited by privatizing the liquor policy. Is that what your contention is? Because now the policy has gone back to the old one, right?
It is not. Look, the laws are not talking about what has happened there and what has happened now. What we are talking is, and we are asking categorically, if your liquor policy is so good and you're getting benefited with it, and there was a problem in the old liquor policy and there was a corruption in the old liquor policy, why the hell did you change it to? Why the hell did you do it that? So we really want to know about this, that there is a U-turn, don't you think? Now they are talking about that they have adopted the liquor policy which belonged to the Modi government, and now they are talking, now we have taken a U-turn because we are being thrashed, we are being coerced. So I want to ask, if you have been thrashed and coerced now also, then stop doing corruption. Please stop your corruption also then. Why you keep on doing your corruption and getting hold on that? So now the problem is, because you have taken a U-turn, now is definitely a right time to figure it out why a person has taken, why a particular party has taken a U-turn on the policy which we made. And they kept on talking with a lot of PCs that we are corrupted. And they have
to be fair, what, if I remember correctly, what the Chief Minister said is that let the investigation happen. So therefore, of course, none of us are saying here that anyone is guilty. What we are saying is that the CBI is investigating. The last I checked, the team was still there in Manish Sisodia's residence. Let's bring in the other panelists. Let's go across to Saket Gokhale. TMC leaders, Mr. Gokhale, have come out in support of AAP. But again, the question is it because the TMC leaders like Partho Chatterjee, Anubrata Mandal are all caught under the ED scanner, and therefore it is only appropriate that you speak in favor of Mr. Sisodia and AAP?
That's a very ridiculous analogy, because by that logic, the Gandhis are under the scandal as well. And I haven't seen the Gandhis speak a word today of support. In fact, it's quite hypocritical that on one side they criticize the ED, on the other side they're holding a press conference blaming Mr. Sisodia. I have 2 points to the BJP spokesperson.
Yes.
If making a U-turn on a policy is a sign of crookedness, then why did the Prime Minister himself go back on the farm laws that he claimed were in the public interest and were going to benefit everybody, and made a U-turn on it? Should we then investigate why the Prime Minister made a U-turn?
The farm laws were not being made by Arvind Kejriwal. Please be clear on your facts, okay? That is our farm laws. We can go back to that anytime we can do. You have gone U-turn on our policy. Now please answer that. Why you have gone a U-turn on our policy, sir? That is your policy. Why you didn't stick to it? You stick to everything what you have done in your life. Why did you go back to Prime Minister Modi's excise policy? You give that answer. Farm laws as is are. We can do it. We can go back. If we find that it is not for any kind of a welfare of the society and people say that, we will go back.
Okay, Anuja Kapur, hold on. Please allow the other panelists to finish their points. Go ahead, Mr. Gokhale.
If this is a news spokesperson, but this is not that type of a channel, madam. So here we allow everybody.
Let's have a civilized
Don't
debate.
you
As far as
ever dare
possible,
call me that I am a news
let's hear
spokesperson.
each other
Please
out.
don't
Is my
give me a
humble
personal
request.
attack.
No,
Don't do
Anuja
that.
Kapur, I am sorry. We will have to have a more civilized, calm debate here because we do not like, a slanging match and for things to get personal, etc. So let's listen each other out. Mr. Gokhale.
What the BJP spokesman said earlier as well. Is Modi ji's government going to be threatened by a regional party? The fact is, the Trinamool Congress in West Bengal kicked out the BJP. In Delhi, the BJP was humiliated in the assembly elections by the Aam Aadmi Party. In Punjab, the BJP did the BJP did not stand a chance. So look, here's the thing. Look at who the BJP is going after. The BJP is going after any opposition party today that they deem a threat. Now, see, this has all been said and done. We have debates on this every second day, vendetta politics. But I'll tell you what is happening now. What is happening now is there is this old Eastern European myth lore which says that, when everyone in a village talks about a ghost, everyone's scared because you haven't seen the ghost yet. But after a while, when that ghost starts appearing every day, it becomes a part of life. What Mr. Modi is now doing with this irrational exuberance is that with the over deployment of CBI and ED, which he should have done in a...
No, Mr. Gokhale, you may get verbose and use, a really bombastic language around Mr. Modi, but then let me just put it this way, that the AAP did give an opportunity for finger pointing. When you allow 6 players to control the entire liquor business, on what grounds those private players got the business will be questioned. And that, to my mind, is what is being put on the scanner. Let there be a fair investigation.
Without being I'm sorry, I realize that, anyone who's not the BJP is not allowed to be verbose here.
No, please go ahead. I just wanted to put in this point that there's a reason why question mark came into this policy.
The TMC spokesperson together get half the time that the BJP spokesperson gets. But without being verbose, let me put it this way. Finger pointing is very different from conducting raids. Okay, finger pointing is today, if we were to finger point at certain things that the central government is doing, we come in, we have debates like this on a TV channel. If we were to start sending agencies, if tomorrow imagine the Punjab police and the BJP Akali Dal government had enough monsters in their closet, if they start sending the Punjab police. Today in West Bengal, we have caught Congress MLAs who have taken money from Himanta Biswa Sarma.
The TMC, again, sorry to interrupt you, is in very loose ground right now after what we saw happen with Partho Chatterjee, with Anubrata Mondal. It is unfortunate with Arpita Mukherjee, I beg your pardon. So, it is something that the TMC at least cannot take a moral high ground at this point on why these searches are conducted. Look at the recoveries that were made. I'm sorry, I have to say it here. Look at the mounds of cash that were found from the aid of a TMC minister. So let's... Yes, but then let's not digress. Let's not digress.
No. You got to speak facts. Arpita Mukherjee is where the cash was recovered. She's not from TMC. Number 2, you can't start the debate by saying, investigation is pending, and then suddenly say we're on shaky ground. No, we're not on shaky ground. We've got a bigger mandate than any other party has gotten in this country.
Okay, let's stick to the current conversation. And you will not accuse me of not giving you time. I think you've been given enough time to make your points. And I'll come back to you again. I haven't even allowed the 4th speaker on the program to come in. So I have to be fair on that. This is a limited period conversation. I have to allow Mr. Binay Singh also to come in. Mr. Binay Singh, if I may read to you what the New York Times actually says, since that point keeps coming up about there's nothing so great about Delhi's education model. The New York Times says our report about efforts to improve Delhi's education system is based on impartial on-ground reporting, and education is an issue that the New York Times has covered over many years. It is an independent, free and free from political or advertiser influence. Why I'm bringing this up is this constant argument coming up is that there can be no attempt to demolish Mr. Manish Sisodia's image. After all, he's not done anything worth the accolades that he's accorded. But here is a newspaper of international repute, though I would have to say that we don't subscribe to any other publication other than our own, that has put out this statement. Now, if you look at it that way, that if you look at the allegations made, in fact, the AAP has said from the very beginning, Mr. Manish Sisodia's first response is, we welcome the CBI and will cooperate in the investigation. Let the truth come out. By the way, live visuals on your screens of the raids, I think, has just been completed, and the team is just exiting the residence of Manish Sisodia. Those are the pictures. So it has been a long day since 9 a.m. in the morning. So I was coming to the point, Mr. Vinay Singh, that again, the point about those who do good work are being harassed does come up time and again because of this.
Afrida, let me put it in this way, that the Aam Aadmi Party, they are trying to give the logic that Sisodia is a wonderful education minister. So how can he be a corrupt, excise minister? So this logic is in the same style or in the same pattern like that was being put for Burhan Wani, that he's the son of a headmaster. So how can he be a terrorist? So these are two different things. And you are talking about NYT, New York Times, that it's a very impartial and international repute organization. It's not impartial. It's not a newspaper of international repute. There are so many violations. There are so many charges. There are so many racist charges against NYT. So don't put like this that everything what is printed in
No, we are not saying it. We are saying that NYT, in response to Times Network, has said this, which I read out. Yes, go ahead.
Let me complete my thing.
Sure.
So, okay, the CBI, they are investigating, they are raiding, so they need to prove all the allegations. They need to come with facts. So, but what is a fact? Let me put the fact first. So, when it comes to liquor and Aam Aadmi Party, they are already corrupt. Because a party which was born out of the agitation of Anna Hazare, and Anna Hazare was known for his anti-graft crusade, his anti-liquor crusade, and the same party which was born out of Anna Hazare's leadership, they are accused of corruption. Okay, leave the corruption, that needs to be proved. But liquor policy, you made a tailor-made liquor policy, so it is suitable for a particular business houses or particular business group or not. That also needs to be proved. But it is a fact that it was tailor-made. It was tailor-made, and you say that the LG, he was having prior knowledge.
But Mr. Vinay Singh, AAP is not defending that policy. AAP, in fact, reversed it and said, okay, if this policy is not working, let's go back to the original. So to be fair, now there is no such new liquor policy that the AAP can be blamed for. Of course, I do understand during that period, while it was in vogue, if there were irregularities, those are being assessed. Now, if I may move on now from this to the other point that I wanted to make, and this is again very critical, what I want to ask Priyanka Kakkar, because, if I need to put things in context, on 6th of August, Manish Sisodia held a press conference and declared that it was former Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal who should be held responsible for irregularities and also for the loss of revenue. Now, these are very damning statements that the AAP has made, because till then, the AAP government had always asserted that revenue had shot up with the new liquor policy. Suddenly, for Mr. Manish Sisodia to come up and shift the blame to Anil Baijal was interpreted by some as an admission that everything was not right with the liquor policy, and now they need to somehow deflect the blame, and that is what the minister tried to do.
Ms. Ali, let me begin by saying that I've heard all your panelists very patiently, especially the BJP spokesperson. I'm very glad that all of them at least now admit that there are no allegations of corruption and it is a matter of investigation. One, let that be stated clearly and loudly. Secondly, Ms. Ali, it's a very simple thing, na, Baba. I've told you that when it started, there were 850 shops under the new policy. The revenue collected was about 9,500 crores. There was a return due to COVID of 144 crores. Then, because of the constant harassment of the vendors, as well as the public officers who were involved in the auctioneering process, the numbers started dropping. It dropped to 650, then it dropped to 450. Obviously, when there are lesser shops, there'll be lesser revenue, and that's how the numbers came down. So it's a very simplified thing. But since the larger issue today, why I was on this debate is that
policy, hoping that the revenue will get a boost, but quite to the contrary of your expectations.
No, it did get a boost. It did get a boost.
Because, if you just simply apply your mind and think about it, there is every chance, and, it's highly convincing that a government would reverse a decision if the revenue generation has not happened up to your expectations and you quickly retrace and realize that this has not worked as per our expectations. So let's go back to the old model. Was that the case?
Miss Ali, I'll repeat again. What had happened is that constantly due to vendetta politics, constantly due to unleashing of agencies on the vendors, on the public officers, constantly because of this, the numbers of the shops reduced. And as it stands today, instead of the sanctioned 850, there are about 250. Therefore, there was no point in continuing with that policy, and therefore it is in suspension until we'll see how it goes. It is in suspension for 6 months.
Okay. Right. So let's listen into that particular announcement, which has now become a major flashpoint between BJP and AAP. When this decision to go back to the old policy was announced, what did the minister say? Let's listen in.
ज़्यादातर सरकारी दुकानों का जिनमें खूब भ्रष्टाचार था और इनके नेताओं रिश्तेदारों इन सबकी ड्राइवर और मेड के नाम पे चलती दुकानों को, इन सबको सारे सिस्टम को बंद करके हमने नई पॉलिसी लगाई और बहुत पारदर्शी तरीके से हमने यहाँ पर शराब की दुकानों की नीलामी की। पहले यहाँ आपकी जानकारी के लिए मैं बता दूं कि पहले दिल्ली में 850 दुकानें होती थी। नई पॉलिसी में हमने तय किया कि जितनी दुकानें पहले होती थी उससे एक भी दुकान फालतू नहीं खोली जाएगी, वही 850 दुकानें रहेंगी। नई पॉलिसी आने से इन लोगों ने जो भ्रष्टाचार मचा रखा था वो रुक गया, वो खत्म हो गया। तो इन लोगों ने पूरा प्लान बनाया कि इस नई पॉलिसी को फेल किया जाए। एक एक करके इन्होंने जितने प्राइवेट दुकान वाले आए थे उनको ईडी की धमकी दी, सीबीआई की धमकी दी।
Yes, so that kind of more or less reflects what we heard from the AAP spokesperson. Anuja, Kapur, your response to this?
There can be no response to this. I can only tell you this, that they have done the corruption. The CBI will prove it in the court of law. I will keep repeating the same things which everybody knows. You know how much we are talking about. It's rupees 567.98 crore. There is a loss in this policy. They have already admitted it.
How did you get to this? Let's just listen in to my colleague who's reporting live right now on the events outside Manish Sisodia's residence. There's a lot of action there. Let's cut in quickly and listen into what's happening.
To AAP as to what will be the next course of action. What we have also gathered is that some files have been taken into seizure by CBI, but we have to first see what is the seizure memo that has been prepared by CBI, because a copy is also given where the raids and searches have happened. So we have to wait and see what actually happened at his residence. But dramatic visuals were first played out when CBI had carried out searches in his vehicle, and then subsequently when the cars went inside and when they came out, so all the things that were being said that he will be detained or he will be taken into custody completely ruled out. CBI team which went into his residence at around 8 in the morning have finally left after carrying out raids and searches for 14 hours.
A long search has just concluded. My colleague Bhavtosh reporting from outside Manish Sisodia's residence. Yes, coming back to you, Anuja Kapur.
So I would like to put it through. It is not us who is talking about. It is Manish Sisodia and their MLAs and their party cabinets. They have said that they got an increase in the sale liquor that was 5,400 crores. They said, it is not me. You can always play that PC. And now they said that we got the profit was for 1,300 crore. Now they say that automatically when they got the CBI thing and the LG wanted to probe into it, according to the chief secretary report which has been given, they quickly say that, oh, I am in loss. How can you be in loss if you have a 87% whiskey and 59.5% beer and 55% increase and the step rise in the sale? How are you now tell me, this is something which is very contrary. They think that we are fools. Aam Aadmi Party thinks that we all are fools. We have been running this country from past in opposition also. You think that we are fools? We don't understand what's happening.
Okay, let Priyanka Kakkar respond. Let Miss Priyanka respond, please.
I have a very simple question to Anuja ji. If you could tell me calmly, where is the corruption?
That will be proven. This is where the corruption is. Where is the jhol? Where is your the profit which you just claimed,
Raghav Chadda said that.
No,
he
Anuja
claimed that
Kapur, if you heard
1300
Priyanka Kakkar,
profit
what she was saying and what the minister
say.
was saying is that the way they envisaged this policy did not work out because there was threat and intimidation tactics used on the vendors, owing to which
Afrida
the kind
ji,
of
it is
sales
not
that they
about them
expected
going
did not
back
happen.
only.
The revenue generation
Afrida
did
ji.
not happen. They
Afrida
were
ji.
left with no option but to roll back. That's the
Afrida ji.
argument.
Afrida
That's
ji,
the argument you need to
Afrida ji.
respond
It
to.
is not about
Afrida
them
ji,
rolling back.
my
it is about
question
them.
is-
It was there when it was they used this policy
my
during the
question is-
corona times. Imagine
Okay.
My
these people,
question
they could
is-
not provide the bed. These people could not provide oxygen. These people are talking about vaccination.
Sorry,
These
I
people
don't
ask
think-
all kind of
I
stupid
don't think,
questions.
Anuja ji
now,
lives in
now
Delhi.
is the time. Now is the time. Even I live in Delhi, madam, and I can tell you where I live in Arvind Kejriwal's constituency. So don't tell me what is happening around. In which country have you seen when we talk about in Delhi even when we see around even when our policy was there was a pink booth for the ladies.
Can we come
Tell
to the
me,
issue?
where was-
Can we
when-
come
when
to the
there was a pink
issue?
booth,
Madam, you're a
have
lawyer, you
done
say.
a non-conforming
There is the
non-conforming areas. You have
I'm
opened up
asking
the
you-
liquor shops.
I'm
Non-conforming
asking you-
areas. You have opened up the liquor shops.
You're
you
wrong, madam.
misuse the laws.
You are wrong,
misuse
madam.
the laws, and that is why
You are
these
lying,
things are-
madam.
Yes, we
You
are
know,
wrong.
you know
We are
what,
very
Priyanka
wrong. I am
Kakkar,
lying,
on
madam.
one
We are
point I
very
have to
wrong.
bring in here
Let
for
the
our viewers'
CBI do the
clarity
probe.
also,
Let the
lying,
CBI
because
madam.
you know a
do
lot
the
of yelling
investigation.
never makes sense. I just want to
Right,
bring in
madam.
clarity to Priyanka Kakkar. I just wanted to say that it was the Chief Secretary under Arvind Kejriwal's government that submitted an adverse report to the LG. So while we are looking at the political slugfest, let's also look at the other timeline that happened, right, Ms. Priyanka Kakkar? That you had a Chief Secretary who submitted an adverse report to the LG, based on which the LG asked for an inquiry, wrote to the MHA, called for a CBI inquiry. That is how all this got started. So now can you solely blame the BJP, or would you also think why is it that an officer under the AAP government, under Arvind Kejriwal, wrote an adverse report to the LG on the liquor policy? That is
Afrida ji,
what
just
sparked
one
off
more
everything.
minute. Afrida ji, just one more.
Let Priyanka Kakkar respond. I need to bring in the other two speakers also, but
Just
quick
one more
response on
question
this point.
Just one more question.
Yes.
Please, just one more
You
question.
were not
just one more
raising this
question.
point, which is
just
why
also
I had
want-
to raise this point.
She's helping you.
You are just hyperventilating on sundry other issues, which is why I
No,
had
I
to
was-
raise this particular point.
There
But
is-
let Ms.
No, this is there.
Priyanka
No, this is-
Kakkar
this is
respond.
there.
Let her also ask. I'll answer both
Okay,
the questions.
ask. Please go ahead. Ask
There
Anuja.
is one more point. Wasn't the excise commissioner was been informed via letter by the BJP in November 2021 that these kind of cartels are being allowed and the rentals have been, do they have the letter or not? Why didn't they reply to it? Can they tell that? And the minute LG
Okay,
came on
let
board,
Priyanka Kakkar
the new
respond. Let
LNG
Priyanka Kakkar respond.
I'll try and make sense of this.
Yes.
Whatever. So let me state it on record with
There's
full
nothing funny. I'm
responsibility.
sorry.
You are.
Okay. I know because you don't have answer. I know. Because I know you don't have an answer to a November 2021 when an excise commissioner was being summoned
Anuja
by the
Kapur,
BJP
you
and they
are
asked
extremely
for it.
agitated and the rest of us are not. So we are allowed to smile a bit. It's okay. Go ahead, Priyanka Kakkar.
Thank you. I hope Anuja ji will be patient enough to listen to me this time. The
Don't
FIR.
provoke me.
Okay. Let's finish our points. I'm also running out of time. Quickly,
I'm
please.
sorry. It is funny. So the FIR does not make a single allegation against Manish ji. Okay, I'm since she's a lawyer, I'll request her to go through the FIR. One. Secondly, Anuja ji, you have the FIR. Okay. Secondly, Anuja ji, perhaps that is the reason, has said that let the trial and investigation happen and could not point out where the scam is. There is no requirement.
I think you're hard of
Okay.
hearing.
I think
did
now
tell
I will
you,
be
you're hard
accused of
hearing
being
or what?
biased towards the
Everybody
women. I
has
have not
told you
allowed the
where it
gentlemen to speak enough. I think both the AAP and the BJP have made their points. I need Mr. Binay Singh and Saket Gokhale to come in before I conclude. Saket Gokhale, you first.
Thank you. Honestly, for a while, I thought this was a BJP press conference going on. But look, at the end of it, what the UP spokesperson said is very clear. Where is the corruption? I mean, you can fault them for maybe having a policy that did not succeed. Let us say that their vendetta claims are false. At the most, you can say that it was maybe a flawed policy. I still don't think where corruption's coming from. The BJP spokesperson starts by saying, oh, the CBI will investigate and find out. But then she's also predicting that the CBI is going to find and already announcing a conviction. Here's the thing also, I also have to respond to the point earlier that it was said on this show that the TMC is apparently on shaky grounds, which is quite big news to us. So let me put it this way. The Chief Justice of India, who's going to be retiring very soon, a few weeks ago had said that the worst thing in this country happening right now is a media trial. Here the investigate, here some Arpita Mukherjee के घर पे कैश मिला, आपने डिसाइड कर लिया भैया टीएमसी को फांसी दे दो इसके ऊपर से. यहाँ पे सर्च हुआ है सीबीआई का, there is nothing in the FIR, but the BJP spokesperson is already predicting that Manish Sisodia is going to go to jail. Is this really how a normal civilized system works? I mean, you know, is this really how you're talking about the Chief Secretary of Delhi, Miss Ali? Let me tell you, he's from the Agbut cadre, and in Delhi, the Chief Secretary does not really report to the Chief Minister. He reports to the LG.
No, only on 3 counts. Only on 3 counts. He reports to the LG, but not on all the issues.
There's a former Chief Secretary who also made allegations of AAP MPs, AAP MLAs assaulting him. So we know how politically motivated the Chief Secretaries in the Agbut cadre are. So let's not get into who they report to at the end of it. The CBI also reports to the BJP. The Chief Secretary also reports to the BJP. The LG also reports to the BJP. They have given a report. The ED also reports to the BJP. The bottom line is, I am yet to hear a single question about, apparently other parties are on shaky ground. There is not even a raid on any of the BJP people. I mean, if you look at the last 7 or 8 odd years, does that not sound like an anomaly to anybody? Or really, I want to ask the BJP spokesperson, मतलब आप कैसे कर लेते हैं, आप इतने साफ कैसे हैं आप लोग, मतलब कहाँ से इतनी
let's stick to the facts of this particular case. Binay Singh, is there anything that you want to say in favor of in response to what you heard from Priyanka Kakkar? I know that you're not officially affiliated to the BJP, but you support the party. So what is your response to how Miss Priyanka Kakkar was trying to explain to us how the party came to this position and why the raids had to happen? Go ahead.
Afrida, Priyanka ji just asked that what are the charges against Mr. Sisodia? Means CBI has what charges they have put. The charges is that one of his family members, they have got a bribe in the form of a bank transfer of 1 crore. So again, I agree that it needs to be proved. But you just made allegations that the businessmen, they were tortured, they were harassed, or they were intimidated. So have you the facts? Have you ever complained to some agencies that yes, they are ED, CBI?
We complained to the Home Minister. We complained to the Home Minister.
Why shouldn't you? You should go to if the police is not taking the complaint, you should go to the court. So just let me make my last point very clear. Mr. Gokhale, you just talk about culture and so many things. So you must remember that in the post-poll violence, a 70-year-old lady was raped. So don't talk about morals. A 70-year-old lady was raped and you are talking about morals. Don't talk about moral. When it comes to TMC, you are not the one who should lecture on moral.
Have some shame,
you should not lecture on moral.
No, I think we are operating on extremes and we are resorting to whataboutery. I cannot allow this debate to degenerate into that kind of, I'm afraid we'll have to close the conversation here. But I think some valuable points made by all the speakers on where they stand on this issue. But like I always say, I'll have to leave it to the viewers' discretion to decide on which side is more convincing on this. Thanks very much for watching this conversation.